Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another meal prep / batch cooking video. I'm so excited to share this batch cooking video with you guys because this one is on fire. If you haven't watched any of my meal preps, definitely watch this one because it's not going to let you down. I can't even wait any longer. Let's just jump in the kitchen and get started ASAP. All right, for breakfast this week, we are going to be making some strawberry lemon scones. The recipe that I will have down in the description box for you guys actually will say blueberry lemon scones because I just kind of substituted the strawberries for the blueberries. But the first thing you're going to want to do is take 2 cups of almond flour and dump that in the bowl. And then you're going to take a 1/3 cup of confectioner's swerve or whatever kind of confectioner sugar you want to use, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, a little bit of salt, and then I like to mix up the dry ingredients. And then we're going to go in there with a 1/4 cup of melted butter, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 large egg, and then we're also going to take the zest from 1 lemon. You can do more if you want. I just used 1 lemon, and when you zest it, you want to constantly turn the lemon because you only want to zest the yellow part. Once you're done, just dump all that zest in there. Remember, I'm going to have all these recipes in the description box below. You don't need to memorize this because everything that you'll need will be down there. Then I just cleaned and cut up, that was around 2/3 cup of strawberries. You could do less if you want. I don't recommend doing more because if you do any more than that, then you're going to have trouble keeping the dough together. But again, you can do less. I just formed it into a ball, and then what you're going to want to do is I just took my hands and flattened it out a little bit. You don't want to make them super flat. You want to make them to where they do have a little bit of volume, but just kind of, flatten them out. And then as you flatten them, I just kind of go around with my hands to keep all the sides together. Once I get it around the thickness that I want, again, the thickness doesn't have to be perfect. You do you. And this recipe makes 8 scones. So I cut it in half, and then I cut that half in half, and then I just cut it into 4ths. But super simple, super easy. This is probably one of the easiest recipes. So don't let, what they look like afterwards because they look literally almost professional. They're amazing. Don't let that intimidate you because they are so easy. And if the blueberries or strawberries or whatever you're using fall out, that's okay. Just shove them back in there. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees and bake those scones for 18 to 22 minutes. While those bake, we are going to make the glaze. So the glaze, you're going to want to use a tablespoon of fresh lemon. So I'm squeezing that same lemon that I used for zesting. It's going to be 1/4 cup of swerve confectioners, or again, whatever confectioners swerve you want to use. And then 1 to 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. Well, I ended up going in with 1.5 tablespoons of lemon because I really wanted to taste that lemon. And then I only went in with 1 tablespoon of heavy cream. But that's what the scones look like when they came out of the oven. They were nice, golden brown, absolutely gorgeous. And then once you start putting the glaze on top, I promise you guys, you're going to want to make these because it's going to make your mouth water and you're going to be running in the kitchen and preheating your oven because I promise you, look at that. Look at that. Don't those look like something that would come from Starbucks? Who needs those sugar-filled, carb-filled Starbucks scones? No. We can do this all on our own, y'all. Go in your kitchen, make these. I promise you, it's not going to let you down. The link to this recipe is in the description box, just a click away. All right, moving on to lunch. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to make some tuna salad. I'm going to use 4 cans of tuna. One of them was in oil. I really don't like tuna in oil, but whatever. It is what it is. I also am still digging that can opener. I am not affiliated, but that is perfect if you have trouble with can openers. I don't, but it's just a company that reached out to me wanting me to check it out. Anyway, it's always linked down below. Again, not affiliated. I just like that little gadget. So I put all 4 cans of the tuna right there in that bowl. I'm making this for Oscar's lunch. This will last him the whole week along with some other things that I meal prep. I'm going to add that can of jalapenos. I'm only going to add about half the can. I do like to put the juice in there too. It just gives it more flavor. And then I don't measure out my stuff, so I'm just putting in there a little bit of mayonnaise, a little bit of mustard. I really like Dijon mustard, but I'm out. Adding some salt, adding some pepper. Keeping it simple, you guys. Simple is the way to go sometimes during meal prep. And then I'm just going to stir that up, and then I'll reevaluate. I did need a little bit more mustard and mayonnaise, so I just added that in, stirring it up some more. And then I'm telling you, this will last Oscar all week long, again, along with some other prepping items. But if you're ever in a jam, this is something that you can literally whip up in less than 5 minutes. It's so easy. You could eat it plain or in some romaine lettuce. All right, so this next recipe is a recipe I just kind of threw stuff together because I had things that I really wanted to use up. I had this chopped spinach in my freezer that I've been wanting to use up. That is 2.5 pounds of ground beef. I chopped up a pepper and an onion, and I tossed those in there as well. And I'm just going to let all of that cook together. Do you guys ever do that where you are going through your fridge and your freezer and you're like, I just need to use this up, and you just kind of throw everything together and create a meal, and it's actually pretty delicious. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm just cooking up all that together, and I want to make sure that those vegetables are nice and soft, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't really care for crunchy vegetables in there. I'd rather have them soft. Then I just went ahead and dumped in that spinach. We are also going to put in there some salt. We're going to add some cumin, some cayenne pepper, garlic powder, chili, paprika, oregano, onion powder, and some black pepper. We are just adding in all the flavors. I don't really measure my seasonings. I just kind of dump. But do keep in mind the things like cayenne pepper and stuff like that, it can make it a little warm. So if you don't like your stuff too hot, I would go light on the cayenne pepper and the pepper. But everything else, you know what? Just throw it in there. If you need to, go a little bit lighter and then taste it and see if you need to add more. It's always better to go lighter and add more later than to add too much, because then you can't take it back out of the dish. So that's just my own professional opinion. And I'm totally kidding. I am not a professional in the kitchen. I'm just your regular plain Jane that absolutely loves to cook. So get in there and just throw in there whatever the heck you want to throw in there. But you know what? This turned out really well, and I know you guys always ask me, how did you eat that? How did you serve that? To be honest with you, I ate that plain Jane because, I mean, it already had the vegetables and stuff in there, so I just put it on a plate and ate it that way. And as you see, I did end up going in with extra chili powder and paprika because I felt like it still needed a little something, but it was delicious. Sometimes those meals you literally just throw together are some of the best meals. You could leave it just like that, or you could even make it a little bit creamy with some heavy whipping cream or some cream cheese or something. But either way, this was a hit. Everybody liked this too. It's so crazy how you can hide some vegetables in some ground beef and people love it. Add extra seasonings in there. It's delicious. All right, here we go again. This was just things that I threw together because I wanted to use stuff up, but that is 1 pound of sausage. You can use whatever sausage that you would like. And I just used my handy dandy little meat chopper there. That was around a half of a white onion. You can use as much or as little onion as you like. And then I'm also going to go in there with some butter because we are going to make this more like a creamy dish. And then I did add, so that was probably around a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons of butter. I also added some heavy whipping cream, but I didn't have very much, so I did add a little bit of half and half as well, just to, give it a little bit of creamy. Half and half will work as well. It's just going to be a little bit runnier. and you might need to go in with some type of thickener, but I would just play that one by ear. I personally did not have to add thickener though. Then I just added 1 package of cauliflower rice. Again, that's the Kirkland one. I did heat it in the microwave first. It just kind of helps the cooking process when you do throw it in the microwave first. And then the same thing, I added some green beans. Those were green beans that were in my freezer that I wanted to use up. Threw them in the microwave first, and then I tossed them in. That was probably, I would say, around 1.5 cups, maybe 2 cups of green beans. You can use less or whatever. Again, I'm just making this up. So we are going to go in with seasonings. So that was some salt. I'm also going to add in some pepper. Again, don't be shy with your seasonings. Adding in some garlic powder. Do keep in mind though, if you use sausage is a little bit saltier, so that will give it a little bit of a saltier taste. I'm going to add some paprika, and I was pretty generous with the paprika. And we're just going to stir that together. And again, if you need to, taste your food and then go back in with more seasonings if you have to. And just thought I'd mention, some of you guys were asking about pans that could go in the oven. Those pans there can go in the oven. I will have those linked in the description box below. Both those cheeses that I just showed you, that cheddar jack and the mozzarella, I'm going to add around 1/2 cup of each one of those to this dish. You could add less, you could add more. You're never going to go wrong with cheese. Cheese is amazing in everything because cheese is life. So that is what it looked like. I did taste mine. I didn't need to add any more seasonings, but this was, oh my goodness, so good. I can't talk highly enough about this. I got so many compliments from this dish. Definitely give this a try. Another really simple thing to prep are chicken thighs. We like the ones with bone in and the skin on because we like to cook ours in the air fryer and they get nice and crispy. I like to use that Redmond's real salt. That is the organic lemon pepper. It is so good, clean ingredients, and the flavors are on point. That is always linked in the description box below if you guys are interested and want to give it a try. But I always do the skin side down first, and I season both sides. I do that so that way when I flip it and the skin side is up, it'll be nice and crispy, like even crispier in my opinion. So once that's done, I'm just gonna throw it in my air fryer. I like to cook mine at 400 degrees for 15 minutes on both sides. So I'm just gonna let the air fryer do the work. Once that is finished on the first side, then I flip them over. Again, we are going to season those up again with the same seasoning, and I'm going to leave my air fryer on these same exact settings. I promise you, these will come out perfect every single time. Press start and then check those beautiful babies out. You guys, the skin is so crispy. It's like you're eating fried chicken and you're cheating, but you're not. Seriously, if you don't have an air fryer, I highly recommend one. That's my favorite gadget in the kitchen. Next up, we're just going to make some easy peasy cauliflower rice. I am just melting some grass-fed Kerrygold butter in that pan. Use whatever butter you want or whatever oil, doesn't even matter. I'm going to take 1 package of that cauliflower rice. I did already heat that in the microwave because those are those microwavable bags that I get at Costco. And then we are just going to season those up. So I seasoned mine with some paprika. We're also going to put in there some salt, as well as some pepper. And that's all the seasonings I used. Super simple. I did end up going in with more paprika that you didn't even see. Sorry, I didn't show that. But I tasted it. It did need more paprika. But that is just a super simple side dish that is actually very delicious. Between the butter and all those seasonings, so good. All right, last but not least, this recipe is not going to disappoint you. We are making a keto chicken pot pie. Oh yeah, chicken pot pie you can have on keto. So we're going to take 1 pound of turkey. You don't have to use turkey. You can use whatever kind of meat you want. And I am going to add some salt and pepper. We're going to add some garlic. That was around a tablespoon. Around a half a cup of onion. I'm just going to cook all that together with my turkey. And then I'm just going to cook that all together, let all those flavors kind of mix together. And I'm going to use those peas and carrots. I know some of you guys are 100% against that on keto. If you are, pick different vegetables. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you could literally make this your own. But I dumped those in there, cooking it all together. We are adding some garlic powder and some paprika. The recipe didn't call for that, but I decided to add it in just so that way it would have more flavor. Remember, even recipes that somebody else created, you can play with them and tweak them and, you know, just kind of make them your own style. But I'm just going to stir that up. We are going to add 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And I'm telling you, you guys, I would have probably added a little bit more heavy whipping cream. And then I didn't have any thickeners. I was out of xanthan gum, so I used coconut flour. Almond flour will work as well. I would just add it a little bit as needed. The little bit that I added was absolute plenty. This was actually a little bit thicker than what I would have liked because pot pies are supposed to be a little bit runny, so I don't even think I would have added the coconut flour, to be honest with you, or I would have added a little bit more liquid. But I did add 1/4 cup shredded cheese. You can use whatever kind you want. And then we are going to start the fathead dough crust because that's what's going to be kind of like the pie crust. So the crust is going to take 1.5 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese, 1 cup of almond flour. I like to throw in there some garlic powder, some onion powder. Then once I get that in there, I just kind of stir it up and then I toss it in the microwave and I like to melt all that together. I know a lot of people don't like to do that, but I personally do. Keep in mind, I didn't put cream cheese in mine. This recipe did call for cream cheese. I prefer fathead dough without cream cheese, but that's all personal preference. So if you want to do it exactly like the recipe, obviously you do you. Once it's out of the microwave, I throw in there 1 large egg and then I mix it up. Eventually you will have to go in with your hands and you're probably smarter than me, so you'll probably wait till it cools because I was burning myself. But I just go in there, I just form a ball because what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut that dough in half because we're going to need a bottom part of the crust and, of course, the top part of the crust. So I was trying to form the crust with my hands on the parchment paper, and then I was going to put it into the pie pan. Make sure you grease your pie pan so well, because if not, it's going to stick. And then, as you can tell, it did stick to my hands. So you're probably going to want to get your hands wet a little bit with water, and that will help immensely. You could even put on a little bit of oil or something to help it from not sticking to your hands. I try to go up the pie pan as well, so that way there is crust all the way around the pot pie. A lot of people use the rolling pins. I'm not good with those. The crust would come out all wonky if I did that. Then I like to take a fork and just poke holes in it, and then I'm going to bake my crust, the bottom part of the crust, at 375 degrees. Then I just bake that for 6 to 7 minutes, and then once that is finished, we are going to start filling it with that yummy goodness right there. So when that is finished, just dump in your filling. Again, if you don't want to use peas and carrots, use whatever you want. Doesn't even matter. And then spread the filling out so that way it's nice and even. And then we're going to get ready to add the top part of our crust. So, and then when it comes to the top part, I just kind of plopped it on there. I did go in with my hands and I just kind of pinched it together. That's a terrible shot and I apologize for that. But that's basically how you do it. You just kind of pinch it together, and then I do put little slits at the top so that way steam and air can escape. But I'm telling you, this was amazing. Like I said, the only thing I would do different is I would try to get it probably a little bit runnier, more like a pot pie, but still amazing. All right, that is going to conclude this week's meal prep. I told you guys it was on fire. I hope you guys enjoyed these recipes because I know myself and my family really, really enjoyed these recipes. So if you guys try any of these, follow me on Instagram. I'll leave it down below. Tag me, let me know what you think. I hope you guys enjoy them as much as we did, and I hope this gave you the motivation and inspiration that you need to get in the kitchen and meal prep for yourself and your family. Meal prepping really isn't that hard. It just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of love in the kitchen, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. But for now, I think that's all I have for you guys. Like always, I'm praying for you, your family, and your country. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys. And don't forget to go out there and make today even better than yesterday. And I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.
On my own, but I don't know why you hit the road, but you don't realize I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when you're